Hey everyone, just wanted to give you a quick update on how my weekend went. So, as I mentioned to you, the purpose of me creating this channel was to document the journey that I'm on right now. And for me, it's just been really eye-opening to see how much progress I was able to make in a short period of time by just being more consistent with my habits and just like changing the mindset that I had. So, I think I'd already mentioned this in my only video so far, but I had this unrealistic belief that somebody was going to come save me and they were going to free me from myself essentially. Some, very savvy business person was going to come along and we were going to start a company together and they were going to carry me essentially. All the skills that I don't have, they were going to be able to do, and they were also going to ensure that we were successful. So obviously, very unrealistic belief. And in the past 90 days, I've actually shed that belief because I've started to realize more now than ever that I'm going to have to do this alone. And it's actually kind of beautiful because that means that there's no more excuses. Like it's either I get this thing done or I don't get this thing done. And it's because of me that it goes one way or the other. So, as far as the habits, I wanted to just kind of quickly share with you one of my tips. If you are into performance and habit tracking in general, then I think that you might find this helpful. So the first thing is, I used to use James Clear's habit tracker from his hardcover notebook, like the bullet journal. I thought that was pretty helpful, but the pages were a little bit small, and after I ran out of pages in that book, I didn't want to buy another journal, so instead, I started to print these out online. You can get these at Evermore Paper Company or evermorepaperco.com. They're free, so I don't make any money by referring you there. I also don't think I would make any money yet from affiliate marketing on my channel with my 0 viewers. So, I just kind of wanted to quickly walk you through the last 4 months from a habits perspective, because it also says a lot about how my life was going. And I think that that's just something that a lot of people don't talk about it, right? Like when you feel good, it's so much easier to get things done. And back in August of 2021, I had just finished an ultra marathon a couple months earlier. There was this period of kind of depression right after the ultra marathon was over because I didn't actually finish the race. It was 100 miles and I made it exactly halfway. And that was really tough for me. And also I just felt like the reason that I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve was self-sabotage, because I was continuing to drink during training and stuff, and I wasn't really taking the nutrition seriously either. I wasn't doing all the workouts that I needed to do. And I had actually finished my first ultra marathon 3 months before my second ultra marathon. And 4 months before my first ultra marathon, I'd finished my first marathon. So I really thought because I really thought because I hadn't done a lot of training for the marathon and I still completed it, that because I also completed the ultra marathon, that I would be fine for the second ultra marathon. I guess I thought I could somehow wing it. So when I didn't finish the race, it was pretty disheartening, and I got over it eventually, but I just found that this summer was quite excessive in terms of how much I was drinking, and not I was drinking alone and trying to escape the pain in that kind of way, but I was really just trying to spend as much time with friends and kind of slacking as I could. Really, it was a distraction. So let me fast forward. In September, at the end of September, my girlfriend and I broke up. It was not ideal, as breakups never really are. And I was feeling quite low. But usually when I feel low, especially when it's something as pronounced as a breakup, that's when I, as a defense mechanism, start really getting back into shape. And this time, what was different was I stopped drinking in August, so that was about a month and a half before the breakup, and my emotions started to kind of even out altogether. Uh, in June, I stopped eating meat. In like October, I stopped eating dairy and also stopped eating sugar in September. So, and gluten. I don't know if I already mentioned that. It doesn't really matter. The point is, like, I made a lot of changes in the past 6 months, and I noticed that there was a huge impact on my emotional regulation, and I wasn't really finding myself like stress eating as much and beating myself up, and a bunch of other things stopped. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of just like look at my habit trackers really quickly. I thought that they would be helpful to just show, like, paint a picture for you of like how my months have been. And the cool thing about doing habit tracking is that over time you can really see where your head was at, because it's easy to fool yourself into thinking that you were more productive than you were, and that maybe like, yeah, just very easy to deceive yourself. So you can see this habit tracker right here. These were the habits that I was going after. I don't remember what they were, but they were all really basic. And you can see that the only habit that I consistently did was I journaled 3 pages a day. In April 2021, I started journaling 3 pages a day, and I never stopped. So yeah, that was like the best habit that I ever implemented. And it was the first time that I'd ever done a habit for so long that it actually became part of my identity. So that was really a fascinating experiment. So in November, I also had my habit tracker, and you can see in November I was actually doing really well. With the breakup, I started to feel more like myself. I was waking up early in the morning. I was getting stuff done, and just kind of came to the realization that I'm happier to be single than I was to be in that relationship. And that's a beautiful thing. It really does go a long way when you feel excited to spend time with yourself. So in December, I also had my habit tracker. You can see it was way more consistent. And like, one of the tips that I'll say is every month I try to add new habits just to see if they make sense. You never really know until you try them. And there are some habits in here, like one of my favorite habits is that I don't check my phone until 12 o'clock every day. And I also don't watch YouTube videos until 12 o'clock every day. And yeah, that's really like beneficial for me because I could get distracted if I started checking my phone earlier. And then I tried adding this new habit called 10 ideas, where I would just like come up with 10 ideas every day. I didn't really keep doing that. It just didn't really make sense for me. So that's just an example of something that like I experimented with and I just didn't like it. But I did start doing something. So this is January. I did start doing something in January, which I really appreciate. And that is, I call it the brain download. And that is like pretty much every morning. I don't want to like share too much of this. Let's see. Is there anything on here that's NSFW? All right, well, I'll just flash this really quickly. Okay, you saw it. The brain download is designed to just get any of the surface level thoughts off my head. So when I wake up every morning, I have a very strict morning routine. It brings me a lot of comfort and a lot of joy. And what it is I wake up at 6 o'clock, I go into the kitchen, I drink 1 liter of water, and then I do the dishes. Or I'll do laundry. It feels so good to clean in the morning for me. It just like clears my brain a little bit. Then what I'll usually do is I will take my dog out for a very short walk just so she can go to the bathroom. Then I'll come back to my desk. I will do the brain download, so I get all of the surface level thoughts off my brain. Then I will do my affirmations, not like me staring in the mirror and telling myself that I'm, gonna rule the world someday or anything like that. But I actually have like something that I write out every morning. And I will definitely give credit to Scott Adams for that. After the affirmations and the brain download, I will journal my 3 pages, and then I will meditate. The meditation is usually through Headspace. I'll do like an 11-minute meditation, or I'll set my timer on my watch and I'll do it for 15 minutes without anything. It depends on how I'm feeling. Other than that, I will usually then, because it's already been like an hour and a half by that point, I'll usually take my dog out again so that we can play fetch in the morning, and she really likes that. And then we come back to my place, I feed her, and then I do creative writing. I'll take a shower, and then I will usually get started with work. I work until around 12 o'clock, take my lunch. Sometimes I'll go to the gym instead of lunch and then have like a short lunch after that. And then I will keep working usually until around 6 o'clock. When I get off work at 6 o'clock, I will usually take my dog out again, and then I try to go to the gym. And when I'm done with the gym, that's when I start doing like my own side stuff and, have like my own side projects. And yeah, for me, what I've realized like over the past 3 months is that I'm much more comfortable with the idea that I'm going to have to achieve success on my own. And maybe it sounds silly, but I had this notion for a very long time that like one day things were just going to change. If I just waited long enough, one day I would just through osmosis learn the skills that I need to learn to have a successful business. And I realized that that's actually just extremely unlikely, to the point where I'm not going to wait any longer. So what I've done is I've taken a lot more ownership over my life and just started to treat my own work as though it's like its own business. So any of the projects that I have on the side, I treat them like their business, and I take them very seriously, and I carve out time for them. And I'm really diligent about spending the weekends now on those kinds of tasks, because I want to just make sure that I'm doing what needs to be done and that I'm not making excuses for the work that doesn't get finished, because it is a really awful feeling when you've put in a lot of time and energy into something and it just doesn't materialize. And I think like if you do something long enough, eventually good things can happen from it. I don't want to take credit for that. That's Alex Hormozi who says that, but I mean, that's where I've heard it. And I do believe that it's true. I mean, James Clear also says it, right? Like with the small habits building on top of each other. But like, I mean, if you look at who I was in April 2021, I was like leaving my last job. I was super miserable. Just was not in a good place. I took a month off to spend time in Croatia. And during that time, I really learned a lot about myself. I think I brought like 15 books or something like that, something ridiculous, on the flight to Croatia. And then I bought some books while I was there, and I was just like studying pretty much the entire time and journaling. And then at night, like at that time, I was still drinking a lot. So that was not ideal by any means. But it was a good wake-up call for me to just realize like who I am, what I'm made of, and what I want. And I've been iterating on that for about 1.5 years now. So almost 2 years, actually. So yeah, anyway, I don't know why I made this video. But again, I'm just trying to put myself out there and just try to get over this fear of like things not being perfect and just like letting them be. And if people find value in this, that is amazing. And if people don't find value in this, I found value in this. So it's good for me, even if other people don't watch these videos. Anyway, if you did watch this, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And looking forward to maybe putting something out again later this week. All right, bye.